In this version of Superman's story, Absolute Superman, we open years ago on Krypton. Clark narrates the history of his homeworld, a planet dominated by sprawling cities of science and ancient law. Cities like Kandor were powered by lava plants and supercapacitors made from sunstone. At the top of Kryptonian society sat the Science League and its clerics, powerful elites who controlled even the weather. But Clark's parents weren't among them. They were laborers, just regular people working the fields, fixing machines. One day, Lara, a young mechanic, helped a struggling farmer fix his broken harvester. They talked about the inequality, the soaring prices, the storms hitting rich cities while the Redlands dried out. Moments later, the clerics finally sent the rain machines. The farmer wants to go inside, but Lara wanted to enjoy the rain they paid for. Clark then reveals that his mother was once a brilliant student, but was banned from the Science Academy at just 9 years old for writing an essay demanding funding for interstellar exploration. That one act got her labeled as defiant for daring to dream. He explains how class divisions shaped every part of life on Krypton. Everyone wore their class crest, and the symbol we know as Superman's S was seen as a mark of shame, proof you were poor. But his parents wore it with pride. Children of the sun, workers with steel hands, people of strength. The story shifts to Jor-El working in the mines, inspecting for safety risks. Workers said they heard cracking. Jor ran every test. Nothing showed up, but he trusted his gut and shut it all down anyway, even after getting chewed out by a pompous middle manager flashing his elite badge. And moments later, the mine began to collapse. The workers were right. Jor had saved lives. Clark explains that Jor-El was once at the top of his class, destined to join the Science League, but on graduation day, he used his speech to condemn the League's destruction of the planet's natural resources. They laughed him off the stage, stripped him of his future, and pushed him out of the system. But he was right. Krypton was dying. As kryptonite energy began pouring through the cracks, Jor and his team raced for the surface, barely surviving. And then the story jumps forward to Earth present day. Deep in the mines of Brazil, migrant workers harvest massive deposits of asbestos, deadly, toxic, and dangerous. But the Lazarus Corporation doesn't care. They force the men to keep digging under armed guard, promising them $1,500, barely $300 more than a month's pay, while the company pulls in hundreds of millions from the diamonds. Then, while going to work as usual, without explanation, a huge pile of diamonds appears, already crushed and processed. The workers are stunned. Nobody knows how it happened, except one man, Clark. Superman had done it in secret. He walks among them, silent, working for justice in the shadows. That night, one of the miners, nicknamed Afro-Man, offers Clark food, drink, music, and company, telling him, "You're family now." The Afro-Man asked Clark his name, but Clark only whispers, "I don't have a name anymore." They speak of suffering, truth, and purpose, but Clark knows he has more work to do. The next day, peacemakers storm the favela. Afro-Man is beaten and interrogated on who among them is superhuman. Superman, weakened and low on solar energy, prepares to fight. His suit, sentient and intelligent, warns him of incoming conflict. Still, Clark refuses to leave. He protects the people, evacuating as many as he can while drones and soldiers close in. He absorbs solar energy, unleashing it in a burst. Too much. He begs his suit, Soul, to shut him down, and just before he can escape, he's stopped by Lois Lane. She cuffs him and warns him if he moves, she'll fry him. But things aren't over. In the Nevada desert, Brainiac monitors it all from a Lazarus Corp lab filled with shrunken cities begging him to end their suffering. Back in Kansas, the Kent farm lies in ruins. A sign reads, "Property of Lazarus Corporation." Something happened there. Something bad. Meanwhile, on Krypton's past timeline, Jor-El has survived the mine collapse, but shows signs of radiation poisoning. He and Lara know the truth. Krypton is dying. And as they look down at baby Kal, in this universe, he didn't leave as an infant. He stayed long enough to know his parents, long enough to feel their love, long enough to be held, comforted. But just beyond, the green glow of kryptonite begins rising.
In the heart of Krypton's Redlands, young Kal-El leans over his desk, the soft hum of his learning chamber surrounding him. His teacher's holographic voice echoes through the room, grading assignments on a hovering screen. But when the cursor reaches Kal's paper, it pauses. The teacher squints, confused. "Kal, your report is descriptive, but it doesn't appear to employ any generative text at all. You did source the cleric's luminarium, didn't you?" Kal looks up, calm but defiant. "I wrote it," he says quietly. The teacher stares at him through the holoscreen, unsure if he's joking. "You wrote this yourself?" Kal nods again, his voice steady. "Yes." The teacher's face darkens. "We'll need to speak with your parents after class." That was 6 years ago. Now, far from the red sands of Krypton, Cal, known to Earth as Superman, finds himself on the run. Shackled, weakened, and surrounded by Lazarus Corp soldiers. One of them, Agent Lois Lane, stands before him, her blaster raised, energy humming inches from his face. "Get on your knees," she orders. Cal tilts his head, glancing at the glowing cuffs linking their wrists together. With the slightest tug, he accidentally yanks Lois off her feet. "Let me just—" he starts, pulling gently at the metal. The cuff won't break. "Soul," he mutters to his AI companion, "I can't tear it apart." "Cal," Soul warns from within the armor, "you are vulnerable here, weakened by this atmosphere." Cal frowns, ignoring the smoke and chaos around them. "She cuffed herself to me, Soul. What do you want me to do? Rip her arm off?" Lois, still on the ground, snarls in frustration and fires. The blast hits Cal directly in the face, sending him staggering backward. He groans, wiping away the scorch mark. "I will deal with the handcuffs," Soul assures him. Cal sighs. "Just don't hurt her." But the situation escalates fast. Around them, Lazarus Corp soldiers open fire, disobeying Lois's orders to stand down. Bullets shred through the air, and Cal moves without hesitation. He steps in front of Lois, taking the hail of rounds himself, shielding her with his own body. The adaptive armor ripples like liquid light, reforming into a crimson mist that flows around them like a cape. "Get this thing off me!" Lois shouts. "You're the one who cuffed us!" Cal yells back, dodging another shot. Soul works tirelessly, analyzing the alien alloy. "This metal reforms as quickly as I can sever it." It will take time. Cal grits his teeth as another explosion rocks the clearing. Tanks roll in, shaking the earth beneath them. "Soul," he orders, "use the dust to hold her. Don't let this tear her apart." Before Lois can argue, the crimson cloud tightens around them both. Then with a sonic boom, Cal rockets into the sky, the red mist trailing behind like wings of light. From below, soldiers watch in disbelief. "He's flying," one of them shouts. The Helella tank opens fire, shells bursting against the Sunstone field. Cal is hit midair, plummeting through smoke and fire until he crashes hard into a nearby village. When the dust settles, Lois lies dazed in his arms. She wakes, raises her blaster, and fires again. Pure reflex. Cal absorbs the hit, groaning as he falls to one knee. "This is Agent Lane," she coughs into her comm. "Suspect fleeing east." "Jammer transmission," Cal orders. "Already done," Soul confirms. Cal sighs, looking at her. "I've saved your life twice, and you still want to arrest me?" Lois reloads. "You willfully endangered my life trying to escape custody?" she says coldly. "That's not saving me." Cal steps closer, his tone firm. "Since when does Lazarus Corp care about anyone's rights?" he says. "You enslave people, experiment on them, treat them like cattle." Lois's eyes flicker, uncertain, but before she can respond, another explosion shakes the ground. Cal looks up to see the tank diving from the sky, its guns aimed at them. He reaches for the nearest car and throws it, like a god hurling a meteor. The vehicle slams into the tank, knocking it out of the air, but horror flashes across Cal's face as it crashes through a nearby church. "The Sunstone dust will shield you," he says, ready to act again, but Lois pushes him aside. "Forget me." "Go!" Cal leaps through the inferno. Inside the collapsing church, he moves fast, heat rippling off his armor. Flames roar as he carries civilians out one by one, using his breath to extinguish the blaze. He shields Lois and the survivors with sunstone dust, creating a shimmering barrier against the fire. When the smoke finally clears, he falls to his knees, drained but alive. Lois looks at him differently now. The alien she thought was a threat just risked everything for strangers. Slowly, she lowers her weapon. "You saved them," she whispers. Cal smiles faintly. "Thank you," he says softly. You did all that," she stammers. "You're welcome," she finally mutters. Cal stands, swaying slightly. "So many stars out there," he says, looking toward the horizon, "and most of them orbit nothing but frozen rock and gas. Do you have any idea how rare your world is? I'm a child of one of those dead suns." Before Lois can answer, the cuffs around their wrists unlock and fall to the dirt. Cal stares down at his freed hands, then back at her. "Wait, don't," she starts, but he's already gone. With a thunderous boom, he launches into the sky, vanishing among the clouds. Moments later, Lazarus Corp reinforcements arrive. All they find is Agent Lane, standing in the ruins, staring upward. Later that night, Lois sits alone in her office, finishing her report for the Brainiac system. "Subject appears powerful," she types, "but I don't believe he's a threat. He saved civilians. He saved me. He needs to be studied. Understood. The computer hums to life, lines of alien code flashing across the screen. Then, without warning, the system speaks. Agent advises termination. So noted. Thank you for your report. Lois blinks, frozen. What? No dash dash. The program shuts off. Behind her, a Lazarus commander enters the room. Good work, Lane. Get some rest. But Lois shakes her head. No, I'm not done. I think I need to write this one myself. She looks out the window, remembering how he shielded her from the fire, how he spoke about stars and life. For the first time, she isn't sure who the real enemy is. Meanwhile, on Krypton, years before its fall, Lara and Jor-El work side by side in their lab. They've already accepted that their world is dying. My design will serve as both a spacesuit and a ship, Lara explains. But if the Science Council refuses to listen, what then? Jor smiles faintly, resting his hands on her shoulders. Then we steal all the sunstone we can carry, he says, and you build a ship big enough for everyone we love. They look out through the lab window. In the distance, their young son Cal plays with Krypto, the loyal white hound. Lara smiles sadly. Then we hold fast to each other, she whispers, with steel in our hearts and lava in our veins. And we aim for the stars. Back on Earth, Lazarus soldiers comb through the wreckage of the village. Locals glare at them in silence. One soldier, his helmet cracked, mutters bitterly, "They don't appreciate everything we've done for them." "Yeah," his comrade says, "that's the job." But the soldier doesn't listen. His voice hardens. "Teach them. Teach them that peace has a price." He raises his weapon and fires, and so ends Absolute Superman #2. Krypton, 6 years earlier. Kal-El is a happy kid, but not a typical Kryptonian by the metrics that matter to the guilds. He isn't coordinated enough for the combat leagues, always shouldered out by bigger, louder kids. The Law Guild's training track isn't in the cards. Academically, he's fine, but not top enough for the Science Academy. He hates speaking in class, gets gently lectured for it, and shrugs it off. Because Cal has a different dream, to join the Labor Guild like his parents, to work the Redlands, to run those crimson fields with his dog, Krypto. His favorite people in any world are his parents. They take him hiking through the violet prairies and the rose-tinted hills of the Kryptonian countryside, campfires glowing under the red sun. On one of those trips deep in the ruby crystal caverns, Jor-El and Lara stop him. "Cal," Jor says softly, "we need to talk." They explain his teacher contacted them. Cal's been turning in reports he actually wrote himself. No Science League luminarium, no generative text, just his own words. Cal lowers his head. He likes writing. His words make him happy. His parents kneel, sharing a conspiratorial smile. Technically, he's defying 3 millennia of Kryptonian educational tradition, and then ruffled hair. "Keep going," they say together. Cal blinks, stunned. Grades aren't the point, Lara tells him. He's sharp and compassionate. They trust him to carve his own path. Cal grins and blurts out what he's known all along. He wants to be a laborer and live in the Redlands like them. The three of them gaze across the flats as the red sun dips low. It's a perfect day. But underneath that perfect day, Jor-El is worried. Since his accident in the mines, he's been distracted, haunted. He keeps going out for samples. Lara spends her free hours in the garage, building something. Cal peeks in from time to time, catching fragments. "We'll need more sunstone, just to be certain," Lara calls one night, unaware Cal is listening. "We don't have much time," Jor answers, saying he's almost ready to present his data to the Science League. "Maybe this time they won't ignore us." Lara's jaw tightens. "When they throw you out and they come for everything we've built, I want us ready to stop pleading with people who don't respect our voices." Cal doesn't understand it yet, but the fear is real. Krypto's sudden barking pulls him outside. A sweep of his flashlight across the grass finds a small creature, dead, its body eaten by a sickly green vapor. "Buddy, what happened?" Cal whispers, moving the beam and finding more wildlife with the same fate. He gulps. "Krypto, where's my bike?" Cal goes investigating. He soars the plains on his hover cycle. He finds plant life scarred by that same subterranean gas. Herds of zerts driven mad, rushing off cliffs in desperate stampedes. Fish belly up in the Kogo waters, a green sheen on the surface. Krypton is having incidents everywhere, and Cal does what he loves most. He documents, gathers evidence, writes. A week later, his class heads into Condor to tour the Science League. On the route, they pass natural disasters called out on official feeds. Cal keeps writing all of it. Before they even set foot in the city, he submits his report to the school's news board. It vanishes within minutes. his notes remotely wiped surgically by the League. Dismayed, Cal files into the Science League complex with the others. While his classmates buzz about joining the League and living above the clouds, Cal looks out over the city's terrifying drop. "Who'd want to work this far from the ground?" he mutters. And then, shouting in the hall, "No! I have to present. You have to listen." Jor-El staggers in, restrained by guards. Cal steps out, stunned to see his father. "I'm a geological engineer. I know what I'm saying." "Your lives are in danger." The guard captain sneers. "Scientific heresy. Threatening law guild officers. Don't you ever learn, laborer?" Jor sees Cal and yells, "Go home! Tell your mother!" The stun rod hits him mid-sentence. Cal lunges to help, knocked aside. "Out of the way, kid!" They drag Jor off. Cal sprints home. In the garage, Lara is already moving. "Listen to me carefully," she says, loading gear into a satchel, sliding a door. "I want you with me, but if anything goes wrong, you get on your bike, you ride straight back here, you go inside that garage, and you call for Soul. Understood?" Cal blinks. "Who's Soul?" "Hello, I am Soul. How may I assist?" A calm voice answers from the shadows. "What are you going to do, Mom?" Cal asks, voice small. Lara turns, now wearing a sleek suit of radiant armor and carrying a cannon glowing with inner heat. "I'm getting your father back." The Law Guild Annex never sees it coming. The doors blow inward. Lara steps through, lava cannon blazing, Crypto streaking past her in a blur, trailing a red dust cape like a comet tail. "Find Jor!" she calls, and Crypto tears through the guards before they can blink. In a cell, Jor looks up, wide-eyed. "Crypto!" The dog barks happily. A few explosions later, Lara crosses the threshold, armor retracting to her shoulders as she grins. "Looks like the suit works," Jor pants. Lara smirks. "You're an idiot. Let's go home." Out in the main chamber, Cal is at a console. He's bypassed the Law Guild's permissions and tunneled into the central system. The truth floods the screen. The science clerics have known for some time. The planet is failing. They're already building escape craft. For themselves. Cal keeps typing, hands shaking, and he blasts the story to every channel he can reach, publishing it from the Law Guild's own system. The veil is torn. All of Krypton knows. Back at the farm, Jor and Lara sit down with their son to explain, but Cal says it for them. Krypton is dying. He looks toward the garage, toward the thing he's glimpsed them building at night. "And you want to fire me into space." Alone tears start to form. Jor and Lara pull him close. "I'm not going," Cal chokes. "Not without you." Lara shakes her head. "We would never send you alone." They guide him into the garage and reveal the ship. Far larger than he imagined. Not a lifeboat for one, a vessel for a family. "We're going together," Jor says. Cal stares up at the craft, awed. "Where are we going?" he whispers. "Present day, Central Kansas, Smallville Senior Living." Nurses trade sad looks. Martha Kent keeps asking for her son, they say, though she has no listed next of kin. In her room, Martha's hand trembles against the windowpane. "Angel, where did you go? Fly back to me, my sweet boy. Back to where you belong." Lois keeps moving. India, Botswana, Brazil, Belarus, Mexico, Vietnam, South Africa, the US, Egypt. She tracks down anyone who's seen Superman, anyone he spoke to, anyone he saved. Her pitch never changes. She wants to help him. She knows what he can do, and that control is still a struggle. If he keeps pushing, he'll hurt himself, or someone else. He's scared. He needs help. He wants help. She can be that bridge. But no one talks to her at first. They won't trust anything branded Lazarus. They know the uniform. They've lived the consequences. "Don't trust Lazarus," Lois insists. "Trust me. I know I have to earn it." In Egypt, she meets a woman with an empty eye socket. "Who did that to you?" Lois asks quietly. Cut to a concrete room. A baton cracks down again and again on Peacekeeper Crenshaw. The others stand aside, not intervening. "I hear you like to cut people for fun," Lois says, stepping back as he staggers up, bloodied and swearing. "Which hand?" He hesitates, then raises the right. Lois takes the fingers and snaps them. "We're finished here, Peacekeeper." "One last item, you're under arrest." Word spreads. People finally open up, but they're not saying what Lois wants to hear. They tell her she isn't chasing him for Lazarus at all. She's chasing him because being near him changes you. They admit something darker. They hope he loses control. that he understands the only way to save Earth is to erase Lazarus from it. That's why he's here, they insist. In Pakistan, Lois stands where Superman fought. Rubble, scorched stone. "If you can hear me," she murmurs, "your friends are wrong. I'm not chasing a storm. I am the storm. You can't outrun me forever." Her comm buzzes. "What's this about refusing your protection detail?" General Sam Lane, no preamble. Lois explains, she can't win hearts and minds flanked by a squad of armored peacekeepers. He's seen the footage of the alien. "You find him, you call in the hammer, you pin that ribbon to your chest on the way out," he barks. Lois counters, property damage in the trillions, but a 0 body count. "He's, I don't know, some mumbly gentle kid," she says. At home, the general straps on Lazarus' prosthetic legs and steps onto his porch. "People said that about Charles Manson once. Take the peacekeepers, Agent Lane. Fear beats trust every time. Don't forget it." She ends the call. Later, she walks out of a Lazarus patrol hub and into the city, alone, telling the squad to stand down. Murals warn the Omega Men are coming. Lois keeps a steady pace. She knows someone is shadowing her. Elsewhere, Peacekeeper Smith sits in a dark booth for counseling, the Brainiac interface pulsing. He tries to confess. The alien tossed them like toys. The crowd laughed, and his rifle. He wanted to fire into them. "I'm trained to keep the peace at any cost," he whispers. "Sometimes I worry what I might do in that name." "Affirmative," Brainiac says cheerfully. "You were traumatized. Your weapon accidentally discharged near unarmed civilians. Defect detected. Rifle will be recalled and replaced." "No," Smith insists. "I meant to shoot. I need a real counselor, not an algorithm." The light goes dead. "Return to duty," the voice orders. He's left alone, unaware someone is watching, and that Brainiac is not just software. Lois turns into an alley and lets the tail close. Pistol up. "Who are you?" she asks the red-haired kid, raising his hands. "Not what you think," he says. "I think you're Omega, and you're here to kill me." "Okay, it's partly what you think," he admits. He insists he didn't come to execute her. He came to talk. About Lazarus, about the damage behind the PR. "You're smart, Agent Lane. Haven't you wondered if you're on the wrong side?" A mask snaps over his face and a white flash ignites the alley. Lois shields her eyes, blind. But she's already closing distance, bearing a fist in his gut. "You think I wasn't trained to fight without sight?" she says, baton crackling. He spins, sweeps, and both hit the pavement, guns clearing leather. "After everything you've seen, the suffering Lazarus leaves in its wake. You're still not ready?" He sighs, letting the mask recede. "Then I've got one thing left to say. Run." Gunfire erupts. A sniper pins the alley. "Hold your fire, I can still reach her," the kid shouts to his team. Lois edges for an angle, but her comm chimes. Brainiac automated response. Gunfire detected. Dispatching assistance. "Stand down," Lois snaps. The system ignores her. Engines howl, the peacekeepers roll out. Smith rides with them, new rifle in hand. "Peace at all costs, peace at all costs," he mutters. In the alley, Lois orders, "Non-lethal only." "Confirming, loading eviscerator round," the system replies. "You useless," she starts, when a figure whips around the corner and shears her rifle in half. "Agent Lane, call me Primus, old family acquaintance," the woman says, drawing an energy blade circling. "How's the general?" Bit shorter than last time. The redhead, now clearly alpha, aims between them. "Please, 1 minute to talk." Before anyone can answer, the air turns red and hums. A cloud swirls, slamming both Omegas back. Lois looks up. The Superman lands hard in the street, dust rippling from his boots. "Superman," Primus calls, recovering fast. "The Omega Men will stand with you against Lazarus." He pivots and backhands her away. Then he faces Lois, eyes simmering. "Stop looking for me," he says, voice low, heat gathering behind the irises. "I just want to..." Lois starts. But engines scream. Peacekeepers pour in, dragging her backward while others aim at the alien. "Remember me?" Smith shouts, rifle raised. Superman studies him a heartbeat. "No." a single frost-laden exhale flash freezes the squad where they stand. Lois reaches, desperate to salvage the moment, but he blasts skyward and is gone. "Damn it," she snarls, spinning on the frozen troopers as locals laugh at the sight. In a nearby alley, Primus glares at Alpha. "This is on you. You had the shot on Lane. You hesitated." Alpha doesn't respond. He's staring at a photo of Superman on his phone. "Are you listening, Olsen?" Primus snaps. "You can call me Jimmy," he says softly. He thinks Lois just needs time to realize which side she's actually on. Later, thawed from the ice, Smith is shaking, screaming. His trigger finger jerks. The squad tackles him, tries to pin the rifle. "What happened?" He gasps as the red haze fades. They lift their heads and the street is silent. Every civilian in the line of fire is down. "Not much, hero," his sergeant spits, pointing at the bodies. "You just brought a storm down on our heads, that's all." Superman is furious, and the Lazarus Corp has no idea what's coming for them. Welcome to Vault 713, where we turn the greatest comic stories into cinematic audio experiences, helping you decide what deserves a place in your collection. Previously in Absolute Superman, a mentally unstable Lazarus officer opened fire on civilians who dared to laugh at him. Now Kal-El knows, and his wrath is about to descend like a storm. But before that reckoning, we return to Krypton on the final day of its existence. Krypton, 6 years ago. Kal had warned his people that the planet was dying, that their world was literally crumbling beneath them. His words had sparked panic, not hope. Riots consumed the cities, and now the planet was tearing itself apart. Soldiers stormed the El residence. "Run, Kal! Get to the ship!" Jor-El shouted, slamming his hammer into an armored trooper. Lara fired her blaster with tears in her eyes as the family jumped into their hover truck and sped through streets engulfed in chaos. Buildings fell, the ground split, and Krypton screamed. They finally reached the Red Crystal Caverns, the secret place where their ship waited. Lara rushed to make last-minute adjustments, trying desperately to fit more people aboard. But Jor stopped her. "Lara, you said yourself, it can't handle more weight. We'll lose everyone." She turned to him, heartbroken. "There are still so many out there. Friends, neighbors." He wrapped his arms around her. "We can't save everyone. Not this time." Kal stood silently near the entrance, staring out at his home. The once beautiful red sky was now a sea of flame. The planet's core burned emerald green. For a fleeting moment, it was almost beautiful Earth. Now, Pakistan, at a Lazarus Peacemaker outpost, a massive red cloud rolled across the desert like a living storm. "How the hell do we stop that?" someone yelled. "Open fire!" the commander shouted. Shells ripped through the air, but the dust passed right through them. Then it lifted the tanks like toys and slammed them into the sky. Inside the bunker, soldiers scrambled for their weapons, the radio dead. And then, the door began to glow red hot. The metal peeled away, and Superman stepped through the fire. He grabbed the lead Peacemaker by the throat and pinned him to the wall. "Christopher Smith, he murdered 23 innocent people. Where is Lazarus hiding him?" The man choked, terrified. I don't know. Please, I don't." Kal's eyes blazed bright red, then faded. His face shifted from fury to shock. He dropped the man, realizing the destruction around him. The bunker burned. The soldiers groaned in pain. He hadn't meant to go this far. Then a voice echoed in his mind. Sol, his ship's AI. "Kal, I've tracked Brainiac's systems. He's hiding Smith at a Lazarus research base in the Nevada desert. There are bottled cities here, with people inside." Kal froze. People, screaming inside glass. "Brainiac requests communication. He's offering Smith's location as a trade." Kal didn't answer. He just looked to the horizon and flew. Krypton, the Redlands. Lara shouted orders as families rushed to board the ship, the red dust swirling beneath their feet. Kal crouched beside Krypto, staring out toward the horizon. "I just want something to remember home by," he whispered. He knelt down and scooped a handful of crimson dirt, but the ground cracked beneath him. "Kal!" Lara and Jor ran forward. But Krypto was faster. Grabbing Kal's sleeve with his teeth, and yanking him to safety. The cracks exploded behind them, molten green fire consuming the fields. Far away, the rich and powerful were trying to force their way aboard the cleric's ships. They thought they could buy survival, but the planet had other plans. None of them made it out. The fires took them all. In the Redlands, Jor-El's ship launched into the sky. Inside, families huddled close as the world below them cracked open. Cal sat by a young girl trembling near a viewport. "Hey," he whispered, "don't be scared. This is the best ship ever made. My parents built it themselves." The girl managed a faint smile. And then, the unthinkable. A massive shard of krypton tore free, slamming through the ship and splitting it apart. Cal screamed as he was thrown into open space. "Do not be afraid, Kal-El," a voice said gently. "I am Sol, your protector." The AI formed a containment field around him, saving him from the explosion. Nearby, other survivors were caught in glowing spheres of their own. Even Crypto barked happily, wagging his tail inside his little craft. Then, through the flames, Cal saw them, his parents. "We're here, son," Jor said, smiling through the light. "We're with you, always." But the planet wasn't done. Krypton erupted, the green fires stretching high into the sky as if the world itself wanted revenge. Cal's ship shuddered, the light engulfed him, and then silence. When the fire cleared, only one small vessel emerged from the storm. Kal-El had survived, alone. Earth, nighttime, a Kansas field. Cal touched down softly, the red dust trailing behind him like a ghost of his cape. "Sol," he said quietly, "where's Smith?" "I have his exact location," the AI replied, but Cal shook his head. "Forget him." He stared at his hands, the same hands that could rebuild worlds or destroy them. "I don't trust what I'll do if I find him. I just need to be reminded." He began to walk. The stars shimmered overhead. The night was silent. Then up ahead, a weathered wooden sign caught the moonlight. "Smallville, Kansas, 10 miles. Cal smiled faintly. "Home," he whispered. "Deep space. 6 years ago." The last survivor of Krypton drifts alone through endless darkness. Inside his small craft, Kal-El curls into a ball as his guardian AI, Sol, scans the cosmos for a home. Days become weeks, weeks become months. Months become years, 17 months and 14 days. Cal hasn't spoken, hasn't eaten, hasn't dreamed. "Kal-El," Sol hums softly, "you have not consumed your daily nutrients?" The boy doesn't respond. He just stares into the void. "How far have we gone?" he finally whispers. "How many worlds could we live on?" Sol pauses, as if hesitating to break his heart. "None. 0 habitable planets detected." Cal presses his palms to the viewport and exhales. "Then stop the search. Let me out." He gestures toward the star ahead, a blazing yellow sun. "Drop me there. End it." But Sol refuses. "My purpose is to protect you, Kal-El." Yet something strange happens. Warmth floods the ship. The closer they drift to the star, the stronger it becomes. Cal's eyes begin to burn, glowing gold for the first time. "Sol, what's happening? It's so hot," he cries. Before the AI can answer, a chime sounds. "Life-sustaining world detected." The ship veers toward a blue and green planet. As they descend, the hull cracks and flames erupt, tearing the vessel apart. Kansas, Earth. Martha and Jonathan Kent are standing in their dry, dying cornfield. "Rain," Martha sighs, looking up at the clear sky. "Weather report promised some." John shakes his head. "Must be nice to be wrong that often and still get paid." She chuckles, but her eyes are tired. "You ever hear what they say about Lazarus Corp? That they can make it rain if they want to?" John frowns. "Oh, that's nonsense. No one can control the weather." But even as he says it, he doesn't sound sure. Then, the heavens ignite. A streak of fire cuts through the clouds and crashes into their field with a thunderous roar. Flames light the night, and from the center of the crater, a boy walks out. Unburned, glowing, screaming in pain. Red dust forms around him, shaping into the AI-Sol. "Cal, my energy reserves are nearly empty. I must rest." The AI fades, leaving the boy alone. John and Martha rush forward as the light dims. He collapses into Martha's arms, whispering in a language they don't understand. "John, he's not burned. Not a mark on him," she breathes. "Whatever he is, we need the police." "No," she interrupts softly. "Minutes ago, we prayed for a miracle. Maybe this is it." She looks down at the strange child. "Don't you know an angel when you see one?" The boy burned with fever for days. In his sleep, he cried out, thrashed, shattered furniture without meaning to. Once, they found him floating above the bed. Another night, red beams shot from his eyes, melting the lamp. But eventually, he stilled. John came to Martha's side, exhaustion in his eyes. "Martha, we can't keep him here. He'll be the end of us." She looked up at him. "He's already been through the end of something. You can feel it. They had lost everything. Their crops, their hope. Maybe saving him is how we save ourselves." And then, the boy awoke. In a blur, he bolted through the wall and out into the open field, faster than sound. He ran until there was nothing but the horizon. He didn't know where he was, but something deep inside whispered, "Home." Becoming a son. 2 weeks later, the Kents still couldn't understand his words, but he'd begun helping them. Fixing fences, carrying hay bales like feathers. At one point, John watched him lift a tractor single-handedly. "Reckon I'll never get used to that," he muttered. To them, he became more than a guest. He became family. One evening, Martha smiled at him. "Maybe you came here looking for something, and maybe it's the same thing we were." The boy didn't know what to say, but he smiled back. That night, the emblem on his chest began to glow. "Cal," Sol's voice whispered as the suit activated, "I've recharged. But be warned, this yellow sun amplifies your Kryptonian cells in unpredictable ways." Cal smirked. "You don't say." "Download their language," he instructed. Moments later, he walked to the porch. Martha and John looked up as he spoke. Clear, calm, and human. "Hello, my name is Kal-El. I fixed your tractor." Martha's eyes filled with tears. "Cal, such a lovely name. It's a pleasure to finally meet you." She took his hand, and for the first time since Krypton, Cal felt at peace. Then Sol's voice returned. "Cal, I've detected multiple aerial drones influencing the local weather. I've disabled them." As the Kents looked up, the machines dropped from the clouds. And that rain. Real heavy rain. Cal smiled faintly. "Hello, Kents," he said softly as the storm rolled in. But Lazarus noticed the missing drones, and within days, peacekeeper forces arrived at the Kent farm. Tanks tore up the soil, soldiers surrounded the house. "The boy's got no ID, no papers. We're taking him in," one barked. John tried to stand between them and Martha, and got knocked to the ground. 2 soldiers dragged Cal toward a truck. "Little guy's stronger than he looks," one grunted. "Cal," Sol warned, "I cannot allow you to be captured." The AI lashed out, disarming the soldiers. Cal hesitated, terrified. "Talk to them, Sol. Tell them who I am. My mission is to protect you, not explain you." John and Martha called out, voices trembling. "Go, son!" "Run." Tears filled his eyes. He turned on and flew into the sky. He would wander for months, from city to city, searching for a place that felt like home, and realizing this world was as fragile as the one he'd lost. Agent Lois Lane studies a file marked Smallville. She walks through a senior living center, flashing her badge. "I'm looking for Martha Kent." The nurse nods slowly. "You might say she's a legend around here." Elsewhere, in the Nevada desert, Brainiac watches her on a monitor. "Agent Lane, quite the investigator," he muses. "Barely needed my guidance." His benefactor appears on another screen, the leader of Lazarus Corp. "Deliver what you promised," the voice commands, "and your place in the new world will be secure." Brainiac smiles. "As you wish." The camera pans across the Lazarus chambers. Followers bow as a man steps from the glowing pool, steam rising from his skin. "Billions will be saved," he declares. When the Superman kneels before his true father, the cult roars in unison. Ra's al Ghul. The immortal stands tall, smiling. Salvation is close at hand. And that concludes The Last Dust of Krypton, the first arc of Absolute Superman. The rise, the fall, and the rebirth of Kal-El, and the shadow of Ra's al Ghul. If you enjoyed this retelling, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the vault, where legends never die and the stories of gods are told again.